Alright, now we start putting the frets back in. What I like to do is I like to cut all 21 frets and then install them. So I made a little block that has all the numbers on it. It's just easier for me. The tools you'll need will be a soft blow hammer like this, fret cutters like this, and you need this is a bag of shot that I use to put under the neck when I'm pounding on it to get a better seating. I also use a small block for the first 5 frets on this end. You'll see. When you cut the frets, make sure that your cutters are square to the tang. If they're slightly off this way or that way, you'll bend the tang and the fret won't sit right. Because this guitar belongs to a full-time guitar player, I'm going to give him the Eric Johnson fret job. And it goes like this. When you make fret wire, it starts round and then they run it through a die and then it becomes this T shape like this. But what happens when you run it through a die like that is the electrons actually run faster one way than the other because you've pulled it through a die. It's called polarity. And so Eric Johnson asked his guitar tech to fret the guitar like this. 1 fret this way, 1 fret this way, next fret this way, next fret this way, so to alternate the polarity of the frets. The story ends with this guy did 3 fret jobs for Eric Johnson, didn't tell him which one had the alternate polarity, and Eric picked it out right away and said, "Can't you hear that? See how much better it is?" So I don't know. If Eric Johnson says it is so, it is so. So if it's a good player, I'll always do the Eric Johnson fret job. Because this is a repair, you can see that some of the frets are larger than others. So what we're going to do is we're going to expand the fret tang with this called a fret crimper. It's made by Stuart McDonald. You just take the fret, crimp the tang, make it a little wider. Walk way along, and you get good solid contact for each fret. Now the fret is now straightened out from the crimping, so I'll run it back through the fret bender to get it back to the 9.5 inch radius again. So you put the ends in first. Make sure it's square to the fingerboard and tap the ends in first. And now the next step, gluing the frets in. The glue doesn't actually hold the frets in, it fills the gap around the tangs and makes it a much more solid fret job. Why do maple neck Fenders sound brighter? It's not because maple's brighter than rosewood, it's because the finish soaks into the fret slots and solidifies the fret. This next step is really what makes it a big city fret job. Now I just use these little pieces of aluminum. This is 3/4 by 1/2 inch aluminum, and then a 1/4 inch steel bar in the center. Hold them in place. Now these blocks hold down the outside, the ends of the frets, but we attach the middle first. We push the middle down first. I made a bunch of little blocks like this. Put them on that center rod, keep it centered, and then tighten it down. You do the center first. 2, 3, 4 little blocks. There we go. Clamps all on. Center ones first, and then these outside ones second. And you tighten everything once you get them all on. Center first, and outside. Now this makes the fret sit down right on the fingerboard. You get great transmission of energy. Now that we've got the neck, all the frets are in. They're clamped in place with clamps and the rods. Now I'm going to drip a little water-thin super glue into each end of each fret. I'm using Zap-A-Gap Thin And the way you do it is you squeeze the bottle a little bit, and then if you pour too much on, you can suck it back. And I use these fine tips that are really easy to find. Come with it. So. Now, squeeze the bottle a little bit, tip it over, and put a drop on each side of each fret. Probably takes a couple of drops. Ken Fallon told me it was 6 drops. And you flip the neck around and do the other side. So now we've taken the clamps off, we've got our new frets on, we're going to trim the edges with the fret pullers. Now file the fret ends level with the side of the guitar with the regular file. Yes. So you got the frets in, got the fingerboard cleaned up, level it with a file. So you can see the tops of all the frets. You hit it with 320 sandpaper, and I'm just doing the 600 just to take the last little bit out. Now I did all this, now I'm going to crown the frets. There's a lot of good fret crowning files out there, and you can certainly use those, but I like the old Gibson method of taking an extra slim taper file and grinding the edges off on the belt sander to make a safe edge. Put it on a handle, and you just go very slowly. You're not trying to change the shape, you're just trying to break that edge off. Round it over. You just get a better job with this file. It takes a little while to practice it, but it really works good. And you round the ends. 2, 3. So you can see the white, that's the flat of the top of the fret. And I'm just going to do one for you, just show you up close. Just cut that sharp edge off, bring it back down to round. A little bit on each side, make it even. And you can see, let me just do the ends. Just guiding it with my finger, I'm not pressing very hard. Or you do file the skin off your fingers at the end of the day. The frets are all filed, leveled, corners rounded, and I take 600 sandpaper and something round and soft. I'm just using old blue jeans. Wrap a little 600 around there, and you just sand the frets like this. Get the ends, roll the paper, and then you put it on the buffing wheel. Standard buffing wheel. It's an inch wide. Got a little jeweler's rouge on there. It's the Mazurna stuff. Take the guitar, hold it firmly. And you wipe all this gunk off, re-oil it, and it's ready to install. Here they are after I've cleaned the oil off them. Looking good, and it's not going to scratch when you start playing on it. They're already buffed out. You can see they kind of shine like chrome. So all we got to do is assemble now.